I kinda messed up. So a few weeks ago, I made a game in just 5 days for the 12th Brackeys Game Jam. And well, on day 4, I accidentally made the game almost impossible to beat. To figure out how all this started, we'll have to go all the way back to the 8th of September. You see, I was sitting at my desk minding my own business when suddenly... Oh right, the Brackeys Game Jam just started. So this time, we'll have to make a game within a short time frame of 1 week, following the theme, calm before the storm. And well, I guess it's time for me to brainstorm for the ultimate idea. Alright, so immediately I thought of a game where the start is peaceful and suddenly everything blows up into chaos. But after struggling to think of actual gameplay ideas, I decided to take the theme literally instead of metaphorically, which means the game would basically contain a calm weather and a storm weather. Anyways, after brainstorming for some time using my last brain cell, this was what I had in mind. Meet Robert. Robert is stupid, and he also likes to fight. Obviously, there's currently no one for Robert to fight, so meet Billy. Billy is even more stupid, and he is always ready to fight. I'll give Robert a weapon and we've got ourselves a hack and slash game. Really cool and totally not dumb idea, I know. But obviously there's no calm before the storm yet, right? So I decided that there will be this magic orb that changes the weather once you touch it. With this 100% winning idea noted down, I got straight into developing the game. Or not. Well, actually I went straight to a farm to hit the hay because my last brain cell got burned out from all that brainstorming. Alright, new day. Time to convert my idea into an actual game. So I jumped into Godot and slapped a floor and rectangle boy into the game, but right now the rectangle boy is dead. So naturally I gave him life, and by giving him life I mean borrowing this movement script that I made a long time ago, and just like that we have a basic platformer. Now this game looks like absolute crap. It's currently one of those generic prototype 2D platformers. So to fix that, I jumped out of Godot and into Sprite to draw a character. Also, I may have forgotten to mention, but Robert is gone. And don't blame me because I didn't take Robert away, this Grim Reaper guy did. For whatever reason, Mr. Grim Reaper right here have decided that it was time for Robert to join his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather and dragged him away. Obviously, the game still needs a main character, so I hired Mr. Grim Reaper for the job. Anyways, I don't know if you've noticed, but the ground is literally floating. Because of that, Isaac Newton decided to come into my dream yesterday night and hit me like how I hit the hay. So to calm Isaac Newton down, I drew a wooden bridge that's held up by red metal frames. Next, I chucked Mr. Grim Reaper and the bridge into the game, and don't tell Isaac Newton this, but if you look down far enough, the red metal frames kinda float in midair. With that done, Mr. Grim Reaper looks kinda stiff right now, so I began making some flute animations. Alright, these animations cost me a whole day to make, purely because of the fact that I suck at animations and, well, art as a whole. Anyways, the background is basically empty right now, so you know what I did? Mountains. But now there's a slight problem. The foreground looks empty, so you know what I did? Water. And now there's still another problem. There's no sky, so you know what I did? Grey sky. Next, I decided that we're going to need some enemies. And remember Billy? Well, when Robert got dragged away, Billy, being the stupider guy that he is, decided to follow Robert. Obviously, the game still needs enemies, so I hired 3 different types of enemies. Number 1, Slimy Boy. Slimy Boy is obviously a slime, but more accurately, a tired slime. Also, he's very irritable. So, he kinda explodes if you annoy him. Other than that, he's quite a friendly bloke. Next, at number 2, we have Mr. Trashcan. He is, well, a trash can with sharp teeth and red eyes. Mr. Trashcan also likes jumping a lot, so better watch out or you could be stomped to death. Alright, and number 3. This enemy was the enemy that caused the entire game to be almost impossible to beat. The bull. At first glance, this bull doesn't seem that nightmarish, right? Like, it's just a bull, what can it do? Well, yes, that's true, but... well, I kinda messed some stuff up. Anyways, with the art finished, I quickly jumped out of Sprite and into Godot to code the enemy's logic. So for Slimy Boy, I had this area, which if anything enters, this slime will chase that object, and if the object stays within the area for long enough, well, Slimy Boy gets irritated and completely blows up. For Mr. Trashcan, what he does is try to storm anything that gets close enough. If nothing gets close, he just sits there menacingly. And finally, we have the bull. Okay, what the bull does is actually pretty simple. It chases you and tries to knock you with its horns. That's basically all it does, but this boost did really high damage. However, the high damage was still not quite the reason why this game was near impossible. Damn, day 4. This was the day where I made the worst mistake in this project and everything went wrong. Alright, right now all of these guys are immortal, and obviously I've got to fix that. Anyways, currently the stormy weather of the game is basically only signified by the grey sky. Obviously I needed more than that, and let me tell you this, the last time I went outdoors to touch grass, rain was still a thing. That's why I slapped a rectangle into Godot's particle system and made it rain. Right now there's only a stormy weather in the game, so I needed a calm weather. I hopped into Esperite and put together the magical orb that I mentioned earlier, chucked it into the game and made the sky switch colors when these orb is touched. Afterwards, I realized that there wasn't enough reason for the player to switch the weather. This was when I decided to add the wind. Basically, in the storm weather, the wind would grow in strength and it would make it harder for the player to move. I was hoping the player would find the wind so annoying that they would switch to the calm mode. And speaking of the calm mode, I needed a way to stop players from staying here. So, because you play as Mr. Grim Reaper, your health would slowly decrease when you are in the sunlight, or basically calm mode. Honestly, I felt like I could have made far better game design decisions here. Like killing enemies would give you health, or you gain health in storm mode, or something else. And also, the wind made it nearly impossible to jump over the bulls. I know the game sucks, but remember, I didn't have much time left and still quite some stuff to do. So next, I worked on the wave system. I settled on having 5 waves in total, with the bulls being introduced on the second wave. Now to make a wave system, you need a way to spawn enemies, right? This was where things started to get bad. You see, with my tight schedule, I decided to take a shortcut and spawn the enemies from the sky. Why did I call it a shortcut? Well, because I wanted the enemies to not just spawn in all at the same time, I would have needed a spawn animation so that enemies don't just pop out of nowhere. So to not have to do spawn animations, I had them drop down from above the screen. And gosh, this was the single worst decision I could have ever made for this game. Well, just look at this nightmare. Bulls Tower. How on earth are you supposed to defeat that abomination of bulls? And guess what? That's not even the worst case. Look at this. Well, there's more. Alright, the worst one of all, though I do not have the image, I've seen this happen when someone was streaming the game. Bull's Castle. This is practically instant death. And yes, when I saw it happen, it was indeed instant death. Alright, this was the final day, for me at least. For the others, there's 2 more days. And guess what? I woke up quite late at 10 AM, which was not good. Anyways, I basically spent the whole morning looking for sound effects and slapping them into the game. I then found this amazing soundtrack by Heatley Bros and chucked it in there too. So I have to finish everything before 6 PM and it's 2 PM right now. Alright, it's time for me to turn on my Game Jam panic mode. I quickly put together a start menu, a game over screen, win screen, tutorial screen and credit screen. Yeah, that was a lot of screens, but anyways, next I drew a logo for the game and I decided to name this game Storm Reaper, because well, there's Grim Reaper fighting enemies in the storm. Alright, with little to no time left, I exported the game, uploaded it and submitted it to the 12th Brackeys Game Jam. The game was finished, and to be honest, Storm Reaper is kinda a terrible game. I feel like I've made so many bad design choices and my lack of playtesting just made the situation even worse. But in the end, at least I finished the game and learned something. Stormreaper got ranked 407 out of 1496 games, which is not bad considering its difficulty. Anyways, during the 2 weeks rating period of the jam, I challenged a lot of game devs to beat this game, whilst I myself, the developer who is supposed to be skilled at his own games, also tried to beat it. And guess what? I failed multiple times. And it wasn't until roughly my 20th try that I finally beat the game. As far as I know, there's only 11 people who have beaten the game to this day. And well, go give it a shot. Somehow I accidentally made a frustrating game without trying to make one, unlike in my previous video where I intentionally made a rage game about rock climbing for the GMTK Game Jam 2024.